So we now have the official prices set for the COVID drug remdesivir. Public Citizen says the following. Gilead, that's the pharma company, is pricing its COVID drug remdesivir at $3,120 for patients with insurance. That's 10 times higher than the suggested benchmark price. U.S. taxpayers have paid at least $70 million to develop this drug. This is deeply immoral. So that last point is actually off. U.S. taxpayers have paid more than $70 million. I'll come back to that in a minute, but let me give you some more information here. So this drug is originally an Ebola drug. It's originally an Ebola drug. We found that it helps, particularly, I believe, with severe COVID patients. So it's sold now to high-income governments for $390 a vial. That's for a total of $2,340 for a standard 5-day treatment. That's the price that every developed country with a universal healthcare system, single-payer healthcare system, that's the price that they're going to pay. Now, the way they price drugs over there makes a lot more sense. They have this public board which openly negotiates with the drug companies, and the whole process is very transparent, and so they get much cheaper drug prices than we do. We don't have that here in the U.S. We just pay whatever the hell the pharmaceutical companies shake us down and tell us we pay. So they're paying $390 a vial. Okay. Now, beyond that, you have 127 lower income countries like India, Egypt, and Bangladesh. They're going to get generic drugs, the generic version of remdesivir, and their prices per vial will be between $59 and $71. So high-income governments paying $390 a vial, the generic version going to the lower-income countries between $59 and $71 a vial. I mean, there should already be questions popping up in your mind as to how we're working this thing and why this is insane. Now, in most developed countries, the drug will be purchased by the government and administered totally free of cost to hospitalized patients. In the U.S., of course, it won't. The amount of money that we're paying, America's private buyers are paying $520 per vial. $520. So that's $3,120 for the typical treatment. Now, the CARES Act provides reimbursements for remdesivir to hospitals that are treating uninsured or underinsured COVID patients. But it places the onus on hospitals to not bill patients and instead apply for reimbursement. But what's been happening is hospitals have been billing patients for the drug, and it's at an exorbitant rate. Get this, 497% of the drug's cost on average. So even though in the CARES Act, hospitals are supposed to get reimbursed for uninsured or underinsured patients, they're charging anyway, and they're charging them way more than what they should charge them. This is typical hospital price gouging in the U.S., which happens all the time. So now, let me get to the bottom line here. U.S. taxpayers invested over $99 million to create this drug. And again, now they're turning around and charging $520 a vial for, private buyers here. Remember, it could be as low as $59 a vial in developing countries. $520 per vial for private buyers here in the U.S. We invested over $99 million to make this. So taxpayers funded it. A pharma company has the rights to it. They create it, and then they price gouge people again. We pay for the creation of it, and then they turn around and say, thank you for that. Now we're going to price gouge you again because we have the rights to the drug. Watchdogs came out and said, well, hold on now, because everybody was talking about, maybe the pharma companies will do the right thing since it's a pandemic. China is creating their own generic version of this, and they said it's free for everybody. Only the U.S. can make China look like this bastion of justice. And they say, hey, it's not a copyright infringement because we're not profiting off of it. If they were profiting off of it, then the U.S. could say that's a copyright infringement. That's not allowed. They said, no, we're not even going to profit off it. We're going to create our own generic version, and it's free for everybody. Meanwhile, we're price gouging people. Now, the pharma company said, we gotta charge this much, bro. Oh, we can't even afford it to keep doing what we're doing if we don't charge this much, bro. Nonsense. Analysts expect Gilead to make over $525 million globally on remdesivir sales this year alone. And you ready for this? Next year, they're going to make more than $2 billion in 2021 on remdesivir. $2 billion. So when they say, we can't afford the cheaper price, bro. We got to keep our operations going, bro. Total bullshit. Complete bullshit. Listen, the solution to this is simple. You got to nationalize the entire health industry. Forget having single-payer healthcare. That's correct. We should have that. The government is the single insurer. Of course, because just copy developed countries, and they have better systems than we do. That's what we should do here. But beyond that, all of pharma should be nationalized. Why? We do a lot of the research anyway with our tax money. Universities do a lot of this research. So we do the research, we develop the drugs, and then they price gouge us anyway, and some private company buys up the rights to it? Why are we allowing this unnecessary, rapacious, mafia-like middleman? There's no reason for them. They're not producing any value. So listen, I'm not going full communist on you here. I'm not saying every industry ever should be nationalized. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is every health industry, because some things are simply too important to be left to the private marketplace. Some things should not have the profit motive involved. Health is like one of the biggest things in that category. So that means not just our health insurance, not just our health care, but also our pharmaceuticals. Absolutely. And you're out of your mind if you think this is going to hurt, how advanced the drugs are, as if it's necessary to have this within a capitalist structure. But it's obviously not necessary because I just told you our money funds the creation of a lot of these drugs. So it's already partly socialized. Then you just give the rights over to private companies who turn around and price gouge us. Basically what I'm saying is let's get rid of the middleman price gougers. There's no reasonable argument against that. None. So that's what I would do. That's what we should do. Because this is unacceptable. We're going to let them get away with murder here. It's a pandemic. Oh, and by the way, the other thing is, the U.S. is apparently going to stockpile, all the remdesivir up front, so other countries are going to struggle to get it. I'm at a loss for words. I mean, this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. This needs to change. And by the way, turn on the mainstream media outlets. See how many of them are talking about this in the same way I'm talking about it. Good luck. And now you know why we're deprioritizing the algorithm.